We live in a complex and continuously changing world, one requiring our teams, organizations, and communities to respond by coming up with new ways of doing things. That means venturing into the unknown and uncertain, and most of us aren't very good at it. According to research on organizational change, failure rates range from an abysmal 75 to 90%. Fortunately, we found there is a group of people who do change brilliantly. Creators. Meet Charlie. He's a director at the local theater. Each day, Charlie and a group of fellow creators step into the unknown together to devise completely new performances that none of them could have imagined ahead of time. What if our teams and organizations could do this? What if we stopped thinking of change as change and started thinking about it as creating? This way of approaching change is not some special ability Charlie was born with. Anybody, including you, can do it. It's simple, but not easy. It's a set of interweaving principles, not a checklist process. Creating in a group requires a very particular mindset and a deliberate way of relating and operating together. Let's take a look at 5 principles Charlie and his fellow creators use to guide a process of creation. Charlie knows that for something new and extraordinary to emerge, he can't meticulously plan, force, or control the outcome. He steps into the unknown with confidence and excitement. Charlie and his co-creators assume complexity from the beginning. They know from experience that unexpected possibilities and ahas will interact with each other, and it's these interactions that will lead them towards a spectacular performance. Charlie reminds his fellow co-creators, none of us has any idea at this point what our opening night performance should look like, or what it'll take to get there. They're comfortable with controlling process choices, adjusting as they go, rather than controlling the outcome. They know if they tried, they would only limit what's possible. To begin, Charlie invites his fellow creators to join him in the center of the room. See how fast you can line up by middle name. Within 2 seconds, people are scrambling into the line, shouting their middle names and swapping stories about where they came from. Any implicit hierarchy vanishes as the group works together to solve something quickly and connect as real humans. Charlie and his co-creators know that by deliberately interacting in certain ways, their group will greatly increase the likelihood of creating crazy cool stuff together as they venture into the unknown. Charlie invites the group to expand their attention, be wildly curious, connect with each other, and play. These co-creators understand the unknown feels threatening and risky, and they'll tighten up to protect themselves from it, especially if they don't feel safe in a group. This is why they deliberately nourish ensemble, this way of relating and being together that overcomes the magnetic pull of safety and allows co-creators to dive in with openness, eager to contribute. A fluid sort of leadership emerges where people let go of their own agendas and initiate with gusto based on what's needed in the moment. The root of the word rehearse comes from Old English and means to dig into the ground, to break up compacted soil and release nutrients so something new and fresh will grow. Several rehearsals into the process, Charlie begins by announcing, "Our last rehearsal left us with a vexing question, so I want to provoke our initial thinking. Let's try something completely different and see what we learn." As creators, Charlie and his ensemble are relentless. They craft rehearsals that release and explore raw insights. Once these insights are surfaced, they must be tested. So Charlie insists on many small adaptive performances among his fellow creators. Let's watch this idea played out and notice how we respond. Charlie often tests possibilities by inviting outsiders, like his lighting designer or marketing team, to watch a particularly challenging scene. He reminds his fellow creators, remember, we're investigating here. So what happens when we perform this bit in front of fresh eyes? The group toggles back and forth between rehearsal and performance with focused attention, building capacity and sparking discovery. Every single adaptive performance helps them design their next skillful rehearsal. The entire ensemble relies on each other to share the very best of themselves throughout this process of creating. They appreciate how challenging it is as people dig deep to release their rawest insights, their untapped ideas, and the obscure connections they see as possibilities. It's not unusual to hear Charlie encourage his actors. I don't care if it's half-baked, let's play with it and see what emerges. He may challenge one of his fellow creators. Do what's obvious to you, don't try to be clever. Or suggest, I'd like to hear what you're thinking but not saying. In the safety and support of their ensemble, these co-creators tap into their strengths and real experiences because they know, as they think publicly with one another, they greatly improve their chances of creating a bold and outrageously successful performance. You've probably noticed that the way Charlie and his fellow creators work together is the opposite of sitting around a table strategizing, making detailed plans, and talking about who should do what by when. There are few chairs in the rehearsal room, and if you were there, you'd hear lots of, what if, and I want to try that, as people spring to their feet. This approach to creating requires Charlie and his group to take action. They actually have to do things. Charlie knows that action accelerates learning and discovery. As he and his fellow creators surface and test their ideas, they rapidly make problems visible, quickly eliminate options that don't work, and learn through doing what will lead them towards an extraordinary performance. Charlie and his ensemble disregard the usual approach of planning and control. Instead, they engage in an active process of creation, acknowledging and relishing the complexity of bringing something new into being. Navigating complexity and allowing for emergence aren't new ideas. In fact, there's quite a buzz about them these days. But what's different about Charlie and his group is that they know how to intentionally develop the conditions for creative emergence, directed at a specific challenge or opportunity. If you're looking for somewhere to start, take a few minutes to think about what's going on in your world. What's got your attention right now? Think of a challenge you and your team are facing and are having trouble solving. When's your opening night? A specific point in time when you'll perform for your audience what you've created to meet that challenge. What impact do you want your opening night to have on your audience? What do you want them to think, feel, and do as a result of your performance? What threats or obstacles might get in the way of the impact you're hoping for? Try naming 3 big ones. Given these, how might you begin working with your ensemble? What capacities and mindsets will you need to nurture in them? What questions and assumptions will you need to investigate, and where and how will you begin? So the next time you step into the room with your ensemble, notice, how are you thinking about your work together? How could what Charlie and his co-creators do help you? We think of this as a useful idea about change as creating, and because we think it's useful, we wanted you to know about it. Special thanks to the Banff Center, where art and ideas collide, and where we've been incubating our ideas about change as creating over the past few years. Extra super-duper appreciation to the many private and public sector clients in Canada, Europe, and the US who've played with us along the way. And of course, there's a group of us who co-created this.